Dr. Subramanian Swamy now joins Times Now for the second time this morning. Dr. Swamy, this is Rahul Shivshankar. I want to begin by asking you firstly, the most basic questions here.
Yes.
Are you satisfied by the composition of the panel that is going to oversee the mediation?
Well, first of all, as far as Kaifullah is concerned, he's a very fine judge. I have very high regard for him. And as far as Shishi Ravi Shankar, I've known him for many years and have worked with him. He's a wonderful person and his knowledge of Hindu religion is superb. So I have no problem with him. The third person I don't know at all. So, or maybe I've seen him in the Supreme Court, but I don't know him. So I don't know about the third person. It doesn't matter. What I do know is that this committee or any other committee cannot go beyond the parameters that have already been set. First, that there is a fundamental right to pray where faith believes, tells us that Ram was born. And this is attested from the time of Guru Nanak in terms of written records. When he came before the Babri Masjid was built or the Ram Mandir was destroyed. And he has vividly accounted out a beautiful temple there was for Ram where Ram was born. And 99% of the Hindus in India today believe that Ram was born in that particular spot. So there has to be a temple there. It's not just a Ram temple, it's a Ram Lala temple. That is where the Ram was born. Second is that the masjid is not an essential part of Islamic religion that the Supreme Court has held, not once but twice. In other words, the masjid can be broken, masjid can be shifted. This is all recorded in the Supreme Court judgment. And in fact, if you go to through the Google to the practice in Saudi Arabia and all the important Muslim countries, you find that even to build a road, they demolished masjids galore. Even a masjid built in Makkah on the direction of Muhammad was once broken by, destroyed and shifted by the Saudi Arabian government. So masjid can be shifted. It's a place to read namaz. Namaz can be read anywhere. So it is actually obstinacy of the Muslim community to insist that they will only read namaz where Ram was born. And particularly since their past generations demolished existing temple. So I think the compromise can be if the Muslims willingly agree that they will build a masjid somewhere else, which is what most of the 99% of the Muslim community today in India want. They want to end this by building a masjid somewhere else. And the government of India can give them a handsome compensation for not laying further claim to the land. So this is the second part. Third is Narasimha Rao's government nationalized the entire land, including the disputed area. And after the Land Reform Acts and the constitutional amendment, once that rationalization takes place by the government, the courts cannot do anything to set it aside. They at most can lay down what the compensation principle can be. And that now applies to these people also. So the government cannot, the Supreme Court cannot turn around to the government and say hand over the land to the Sunni Waqf Board. But they can say the Sunni Waqf Board has a title, although in Allahabad High Court that was rejected, and say pay them compensation. So what is the compromise? The Muslim community agrees to take the compensation and goes and builds a masjid somewhere else, and the Hindu community will assist the Muslim community to find a suitable land. That's the only compromise possible. Otherwise, the parameters set leave you no room whatsoever to think of any alternative suggestion than building a temple in where Ram was born.
Okay, let me ask you a question that is on the top of everyone's mind. Because during the last hearing, the bench had passed a very important sort of observation. They had said that this goes beyond now an ordinary land/title dispute, and you were in the court at that time, Dr. Swamy. In fact, the bench had also gone ahead and said that this is a matter of sentiment, faith. So what you're saying, therefore, suggests that
That's right.
if it goes beyond just being a
Yes.
property dispute, then the Muslim side must actually move or perhaps shift to a more centrist position.
Congratulations, that's correct. That's the most people missed it. I'm surprised you didn't.
So that's
absolutely
I
correct.
don't tend to miss these things.
There's no
and,
sentiment attached to a
yeah,
masjid.
we don't, because we've been following this case along with you now for years altogether. But now let me come to the bigger question. You see, sir, the way we are looking at
Yes.
it is that this matter can be ended by May 8th, quite
Yes.
frankly, if only one of the sides decides to accommodate. And I'm not saying
Absolutely.
compromise, I'm only saying accommodate, a matter of faith. If they can, this
Yes.
matter is done with, it's dealt with before the elections.
Well, we could if it wasn't deliberately, brutally demolished, the temple. And we have fought, the Hindu community has fought for 500 years for it. And it's not going to compromise by saying you and I share the same land, nothing of the kind. Especially when masjid is not an essential part of Islamic religion. And masjid can be read even on railway platforms. So the compromise has to come from the Muslim community, and partly, in my opinion, and it's not going to be stated as a part of any agreement, but in my opinion, as atonement for what Babur did to the Hindu community.
So what you're saying,
Because they
Dr.
are claiming
Swamy,
Babur's land.
yeah, so what
They
you're
have no
saying,
land of their own.
well, the Supreme Court also said, look,
Yes.
what is done. But what you're saying, in essence, is that a solution, a window, if not a door, has been left
Yes.
open now for a solution within 8 weeks. That's what you're saying, essentially.
Well, I am saying that this is a wonderful opportunity for the Muslim community to show that they are different from the Muslim community in other parts of the world. They consider themselves as brothers and sisters of the Hindu community here. And the Hindu community will reciprocate in a big way if they do it. What is one masjid to them, I want to know. Those who broke it unauthorizedly, they are all facing criminal cases. That's all the democratic society can do, file cases and prosecute them. And despite the fact that many of them are tall leaders of the BJP, the prosecution is taking place. So this is the gesture they should do. But let me also say, supposing they fight the case and win the Muslim Sunni Waqf board, that the title belongs to the Muslim, to the Waqf board. Government will say, sorry, we have nationalized the land, take compensation and go. And there's no way to challenge that. Because after the land reform disputes, the Supreme Court itself has observed that if under this Act of Section 300A, the government of India nationalizes the land in public interest, there is no way you can strike it down. Only thing you can do is decide whether the compensation is adequate.
Well, thank you, Dr. Swamy, for putting this in perspective for us.